Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, this is going to be a reading on Jack Smith's recently updated indictment that was filed against Donald Trump regarding the events surrounding the January 6th insurrection. This indictment was brought before a grand jury who had not seen any of the evidence in this case before, and that grand jury found that there was reasonable cause, basically more evidence than not, that people could be charged. In this case, Donald Trump could be charged with crimes. It's similar to the previous indictment. However, some items have been removed and the scopes of others have been narrowed, in part because of the Supreme Court's ruling on presidents being kings. And the Supreme Court, in their ruling, it's like they took the January 6th case point by point and gutted it. To protect Donald Trump. Because, yeah, I'm biased, but, yeah, no. They could have made a much broader ruling, but they were very specific. Okay. This stripped down case is the first of the cases against the former president after the Supreme Court made their ruling, trying to comply with the Supreme Court's narrowing of scopes or what's been off limits. So Jeffrey Clark, for instance, and Trump trying to influence Jeffrey Clark has been removed from this case. Let's see, in this article I'll have a link to Clark is no longer referenced as a co-conspirator, but they did leave in the bit about Trump participating in a scheme to enlist slates of fake electors to overturn the election. So that Jack Smith feels like he can get that one through. So, and I guess the other thing that was included was that Trump was trying to intimidate Pence and to get him to reject, as part of that fake elector scheme, get him to reject the electoral votes. That might be tricky because it's a conversation between the president and the vice president, but I guess maybe they're going to go with that he may be presumptively immune, but it definitely falls outside the scope of the President of the United States. Part of the job of the President of the United States isn't to pressure your Vice President to overturn an election so that you stay President of the United States. By the way, I've got my Taco Tuesday shirt on that Marina gave me. I've got one for Gary as well. I had to deliver it to him. Okay, so I'm recording this at 5 o'clock on Tuesday, August 27th. Taco Tuesday starts in less than an hour. Okay, but I want to look at the energy around Jack Smith's latest updated indictment, narrower in scope, trying to accommodate the Supreme Court's wise decision on Trump and the January 6th events. Okay, entertainment purposes only. How are things looking with this new case? This new indictment. Okay, foundation of the reading is the magician. Okay, Jack Smith is working his alchemy on this. Like, okay, you've changed, we've baked the cake and it's ready to go, and now you've removed ingredients from it. So now I have to create something from scratch, which he has done. Crossed with the death card. The reason why he had to do it from scratch was the Supreme Court, justice was not blind. The Supreme Court basically left his case as written dead in the water. Now, I know Judge Chutkin is going to have a hearing to go over evidence, or likely is to have a hearing to go over evidence, so she can parse out what is covered by the Supreme Court by which is not. And maybe Jack Smith doing this is going to make things simpler on Judge Chutkin. It's going to get rid of some of the other stuff so that it can be focused on key events in here. He had a choice in this. He could have tried to force through his old case, or he could try to make things easier on the judge and easier on the case. Because probably, with the whole thing with Jeffrey Clark, he would likely get claimed as immune, and that it would be blocked, and that maybe he's concerned that there's momentum. Don't file something that you're going to lose. Put in the stuff that you can win, or have a high probability of winning. In the past, you have the Four of Coins, keeping things close to the vest. I didn't know, there was no reporting that Jack Smith was bringing a new indictment in front of a grand jury, in front of a new grand jury. Jack Smith and his team are really good about keeping information secret. Trump is losing his mud, by the way, saying, it's just a witch hunt and blah, blah, blah. The usual rhetoric. I don't think Trump was expecting this. Something to look at. Current situation is the Five of Wands. The fight has not left Jack Smith. Jack Smith is in for this fight. Whether it's Jack Smith or Jack Smith's team, because Jack Smith could walk away from this. He could get pulled from this. We'll see what happens. But it's not the dog in the fight, it's the fight in the dog. This dog's got a lot of fight in him. Overarching energy is the Page of Swords. To me, this is just starting over. We're starting over with a narrower case. And it's kind of, nobody knows how Judge Chutkin can rule on this, given the way the Supreme Court has turned this case up on its head. By simplifying things, you're going to make it easier for the judge to rule on this case. It gets rid of a lot of gray zones, as it were. The lesson to be learned is the Six of Coins. The big charges have been reduced. Certainly against Jeffrey Clark. Jeffrey Clark can, thank his lucky stars the Supreme Court ruled the way they did. But Trump's not out of the woods. It's lesser things are being done, but it's also trying to comply with the rule of law as laid out by the Supreme Court. Out comes the Eight of Wands. This actually may speed up the overall process, because there's less things that Judge Chutkin has to consider. It'll speed up testimony, and probably, obviously, if you're bringing in Jeffrey Clark or going to talk about him, you have to bring a bunch of witnesses to discuss that. Those witnesses are no longer going to be brought in, which means that if there is an evidentiary hearing, it's going to be that much easier to schedule, because there's less moving parts. Okay? Am I thrilled by this? No. Why? Because what the Supreme Court ruled was bogus. It was a very corrupt ruling designed to benefit one person, as opposed to representing the interest of the citizenry of this country and upholding the principles of the Constitution, which is what the Supreme Court should be considering. Definitely the latter. And by doing that, you're interfering with the federal courts. All right. How is Team Trump? What's Trump thinking about this? Obviously, he's not happy, but what are his fears on this one? He's so fear-driven that what are his fears with this? Is this triggering fears in Donald Trump? If so, what are we looking at here? The Sun, the truth being exposed. Now, this case, again, this hearing may not happen before the election, but that might be his biggest fear. Certainly, his biggest fear is that this case isn't dead in the water. Jack Smith is still trying. Trump, I guess, was thinking that Jack Smith would stop. What's underneath it? The Empress. Yeah, I don't know if it's Russia's involved with this, but it's just, it's going to show how Trump did things in his own best interest, not the best interest of the country. Got the Ace of Swords. Look at these aces here. Wow. That's a Trump reading. Of course there's going to be a double card in there. The truth is going to be exposed about, Trump dereliction, like his dereliction of duty, just sitting around watching the riot, not telling the rioters to go home. I don't know if there's big money involved with this, but maybe it's a big value thing that there's. Oh God. There's a big money component or a big value component that's coming through this. I don't think this is... Well, it could lead to a health event, I suppose. With the dereliction of duty. You got the Ace of Swords, truth, the sword of truth and justice here, showing the corruption of the devil. And it's just, again, showing his values as to what's going on here. It's like I keep wanting to say there's a money component, follow the money. I don't see January 6th as being a big money grab. This is more like a power grab. I think that's more to the point, or certainly how he fundraised off of this. Yeah, maybe this trial will delve into all the money that Trump fundraised off of this. With his righteous indignation, lying to his followers, and then them giving him a bunch of money. Maybe that's the thing he's most afraid of. It's gonna put a number to the grift. How many hundreds of millions, are we up to billions of dollars that have been thrown at him from his supporters for what could easily be called as a lie? How does Jack Smith think? Little 4-carder on Jack Smith. On how Jack Smith thinks this case is going to go. Actually, I'm going to change that. I do want to ask that question, but I'm going to instead ask this one because it's on my mind. I don't want to forget it, and I keep feeling like I should ask this one next. How will Trump's MAGA supporters, the folks that donated a bunch of money to him, how are they going to feel if Trump's worst fears come out? That, with that Ace of Pentacles, you got the, I can't remember what the overarching card was. We had the Empress underneath, Ace of Swords, Ace of Pentacles, and the double card. What was the foundation? No, well, I'll figure it out. How will his followers react? Oh, the Sun card. When the truth is revealed, when the hearing's on, everything's under oath, and the truth that Donald Trump is afraid is going to come out. How are they going to react? I'm going to do 2 signifiers because this card was supposed to go about 6 or 7 cards underneath it. Wanted to stay on top. How are they going to react? With lunacy? Oh, God. They're going to lose their mind over the truth. Or it's going to split the support. Some are going to understand the truth behind things. Others are going to be purposely obtuse about it. Mind you, the Sun card, this card here is the moon eclipsing the sun. And the Sun card is the truth being exposed. And underneath it is the Queen of Swords. There's going to be a group of people that when the truth is exposed, they're going to be ruthless on this. And Donald Trump is probably really scared, as well as are the Republican politicians, scared of the MAGA base. Got the 7 of Wands underneath, the 6 of Swords, the 9 of Swords. How are they going to react? First off, a lot of them are going to leave MAGA in droves. They've been lied to. They've seen the truth, and then they realize that they've been the idiots this whole time. This obviously, I don't think this is a huge population of MAGA. I don't give them that much credit, I'm sorry to say. But there will be some. Some, they've made their identity this. But a bunch of people are gonna move away. Others might bring up legal cases against Trump. I could see legal cases, lawsuits, wrongful, lawsuits, fraud type of lawsuits against Trump's PACs for misrepresenting what these folks are sending money for. And that Ace Coins could also show how that money was spent. I could, just how they had the automatic send $45 weekly. The people were thinking they were doing a one-time payment. They're doing weekly. I think there's going to be some lawsuits that come out of this. For some people, they're going to be ashamed of how they behaved. Others, to me, this is more their identity politics, owning the libs, being a MAGA person. It's going to shake some of them. This is almost like some folks realizing that they were duped. They were conned. They woke up. And now they have to face this brave new day that the person that they've been saying is this great patriot that they would take a bullet for and give their hard-earned money to has been a con man the entire time. He lied to them. He misled them. Hundreds have been incarcerated. Hundreds more are still awaiting trials. Some folks have gotten over 10 years to 20 years of prison. Folks have lost their jobs. They've alienated their families. They've alienated their friends. For what? A big lie that's about to be revealed. Lastly, how does Jack Smith view this new indictment? How is Jack Smith viewing this new indictment? Trump is kind of worried that the truth is going to be exposed on him, and his dereliction of duty. Not to mention the grifting that went on with it. This one's also going to get 2 cards because this one also was kind of staying on the top. We got the Devil card and the 2 of Wands. How is he feeling about this? I think he's understanding that Trump is going to fight this, and this case is just going to require more work. He might even be thinking of leaving. 2 of Wands. This could be one of those things where, he's got this thing set up. He doesn't necessarily need to see it all the way through. I guess it depends on... Well, maybe he sticks around on this one. It's the Mar-a-Lago documents case with the whole special counsel thing that's going on. But we've got Trump and his followers, and we've got the 2 of Wands. It's kind of like the next steps. Bringing it to the court case, bringing the court case after hearing the Supreme Court and seeing how Judge Chutkan's going to rule on it. King of Cups, trying to keep a very mature, emotionally balanced approach with this case. He's not letting this case consume him. He's got other fish to fry, as it were. To him, this is just another case. It just happens to be a big case involving a former president of the United States. The other feeling is kind of disappointment that he had a nice tight case, and the Supreme Court came over there and kicked over a bunch of his charges that he had to reduce it. I think to him, this isn't fair. This isn't justice. The Supreme Court did an injustice to the American people. The Supreme Court underneath it. Sitting there smug, messing with this guy's investigation, causing him to have to refile it and pare it down. I got no strong feelings from it. I just feel like it's like, okay, this is what I got. This is how the Supreme Court ruled. It ruled in favor of him. I had to go do something different. So, I've got my big boy pants on. I'm going to file new charges, bring it to a new grand jury, file new charges, bring it before Judge Chutkin, and it's not as much as I wanted to do before. So you've got like this 9 to 10 month delay, and you had to reduce the charges. I guess we'll see how things go moving forward with this. Okay, so to summarize, he's pulled another rabbit out of his hat, keeping this case alive. He's not giving up on it. Trump's worried that he's going to be exposed to his followers. His followers, when he's exposed, some of them are not going to be very happy. Others, cult members are cult members. And then I think Jack Smith is looking at this whole thing like, okay, it's kind of cost doing business. It's really unfortunate. This doesn't feel like justice, but I will prosecute this case within the parameters I'm allowed to prosecute it in. Okay. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. As always, these readings are for entertainment purposes only, and I hope you found this reading entertaining, insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.